You think you know everything about US quarters, until I tell you about the unbelievable secret hidden in one of the most common coins ever minted, the 1965 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that looks ordinary but in rare instances has treasures worth tens of thousands of dollars quietly waiting under collectors' noses. Let's begin with a dramatic turning point in American coinage history, because 1965 was not just another production year, it marked a monetary crisis, a metal transition, and a redesign of the very composition of everyday U.S. money, making this quarter a historic symbol of economic pressure and mint innovation. The Washington quarter design remained visually classic, featuring John Flanagan's powerful left-facing portrait of George Washington on the obverse, with Liberty above, In God We Trust to the left, and the date below, while the reverse displayed the heraldic eagle with wings spread, clutching arrows and olive branches beneath United States of America and quarter dollar, a design that balanced neoclassical strength with patriotic symbolism. But the metal beneath that design changed forever in 1965, because rising silver prices forced the U.S. Mint to eliminate 90% silver from circulating quarters, replacing it with a copper-nickel clad composition, an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, creating the first modern clad quarter in U.S. history. Here is where collectors encounter one of the most confusing yet fascinating facts: there is no mint mark on 1965 quarters at all, because from 1965 through 1967 the mint intentionally removed mint marks to discourage hoarding during the coin shortage, meaning Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco issues are visually indistinguishable. For beginners this seems disappointing, but for advanced numismatists this absence tells a powerful story about federal policy, public behavior, and the attempt to stabilize circulating coinage during a period when Americans were pulling silver coins out of circulation faster than the mint could replace them. In ordinary circulated grades, the 1965 Washington quarter is extremely common, often worth only face value, but condition rarity changes everything, because high-grade examples with sharp strikes, original luster, and minimal contact marks become increasingly scarce as you move up the mint state grading scale. At grades like MS66, MS67, and especially MS68, population numbers drop dramatically, and registry set collectors compete fiercely for the finest certified examples, turning what was once pocket change into a modern condition rarity prize. However, the real excitement begins with mint errors and transitional anomalies, because the year 1965 sits right at the boundary between silver and clad coinage, creating the possibility of planchet mix-ups and striking irregularities that produced coins never intended to exist. The most famous of these is the 1965 quarter struck on a leftover 90% silver planchet, a transitional error created when a silver blank from 1964 production remained in the system and was accidentally struck with 1965 dies, resulting in a coin that looks normal but has the wrong metallic composition. Collectors identify these by examining the edge, which shows a solid silver color instead of the copper stripes seen on clad coins, and by checking weight, because a genuine silver example weighs about 6.25 grams compared to roughly 5.67 grams for clad issues. Other highly collectible errors include double dies showing noticeable doubling on Liberty or In God We Trust, off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, broad strikes without a defined rim, and wrong planchet errors where the quarter design appears on blanks intended for other denominations. Each of these errors represents a breakdown in the minting process, a mechanical or procedural anomaly that slipped past inspection, and such mistakes are treasured precisely because they were never meant to leave the mint. Demand for dramatic errors has surged in recent decades as modern error collecting has become a major specialty, and third-party grading services now authenticate, attribute, and encapsulate these pieces, giving buyers confidence and helping exceptional examples achieve remarkable auction prices. Now we arrive at the electrifying numbers that prove how extraordinary a 1965 quarter can become, because verified auction records show that a genuine 1965 silver transitional error graded mint state has sold for around $16,800, while another silver example in lower grade still realized roughly $9,000, and dramatic wrong planchet errors have brought more than $5,000 at public sale. Even standard clad coins are not excluded from big money, because superb gem examples at the absolute top of the grading scale, such as MS68, have crossed into the 4-figure and even 5-figure range in competitive auctions when I appeal, strike quality, and certification align perfectly. These prices reveal a crucial truth every serious collector understands: rarity is not just about age, but about survival, condition, minting anomalies, and historical context working together to create desirability. So the next time a 1965 Washington quarter passes through your hands, do not dismiss it as ordinary pocket change, but examine the edge, consider the weight, study the strike, and evaluate the surface quality, because hidden among billions of common coins are a few that represent some of the most exciting modern discoveries in U.S. numismatics. In the world of coin collecting, knowledge is the difference between spending 25 cents and holding a 4- or 5-figure treasure, and the 1965 Washington quarter stands as a powerful reminder that history, metallurgy, and minting errors can transform the most ordinary coin into an extraordinary collectible. Today, we dive into one of the most fascinating quarters of the 20th century, the 1994 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that could be sitting in your pocket right now, but whose true story only reveals itself to the observant collector. Setting the stage, the Washington quarter legacy. The Washington quarter was first issued in 1932, created to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, breaking the long tradition of standing Liberty quarters and bringing America's first president to the forefront of everyday currency. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, the iconic portrait of Washington has endured for nearly a century, symbolizing dignity, leadership, and the very spirit of the nation's founding, the United States in the 1990s. By 1994, the United States was in a period of economic expansion, technological innovation, and renewed patriotism as the nation approached the twilight of the 20th century. The coins produced during this era may not immediately capture attention for historical milestones, but every piece minted reflects the craftsmanship and minting standards of the United States Mint, established over decades of refinement. Understanding the design, what makes it special. The obverse of the 1994 Washington quarter dollar features a sharply detailed portrait of George Washington, his gaze forward, framed by the engraver's initials and the word Liberty in bold relief. The reverse, until the State series began in 1999, showcases the traditional American eagle, wings spread proudly, clutching arrows and olive branches, symbolizing readiness and peace. This design continuity makes the 1994 issues a bridge between classic numismatic tradition and the modern state quarter revolution that would follow. Mint mark significance. D for DNVR. The D Mint mark on this quarter identifies its production at the Denver Mint, one of the foremost facilities of monetary creation in the United States. Collectors understand that mint marks are not just letters, they are historical signatures that reveal production quantity, regional striking characteristics, and long-term collector impact. The Denver Mint in 1994 produced robust mintage numbers, but subtle variations in strike quality and die wear remain areas of intense study. Mintage and relative RRITY. In 1994, the Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of quarters, making this coin widespread across circulation and collector sets alike. But don't be deceived by high numbers, condition matters. Extremely fine examples are common, but high grades in MS65 and above become significantly rarer and demand collector attention due to surface preservation and luster retention, surface quality and strike CHRACTRSTCS. The 1994 Washington quarter exhibits notable differences in strike strength and die clarity depending on production batches. Some coins show razor-sharp definition around Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, highly sought-after traits among specialists. Meanwhile, weaker strikes will appear softer in detail and command lower premiums, but those mint errors often tell fascinating stories of minting pressures and die life cycles that veterans of the hobby absolutely relish. Common errors and varieties. Collectors SEK. While the 1994 quarter is not typically associated with dramatic errors like double dies or off-center strikes, the vigilant collector can occasionally find examples with die cracks, die chips, and planchet anomalies that elevate an otherwise standard coin into a collectible variant. These subtle minting quirks require trained eyes, or magnification, but reward patience with pieces that stand out from mass-produced counterparts. Market trends and collector demand. In today's numismatic market, Washington quarters of the 1990s are experiencing renewed interest as collectors shift focus from proof sets to high-grade circulation pieces. Demand is strongest for coins with full cartwheel luster, blemish-free surfaces, and sharp strikes, all captured under demanding grading standards by services like PCGS and NGC. Serious collectors recognize that the 1994 D quarter is a cornerstone for completing quality date sets spanning decades, authentication and grading INSIGHTS. Before you invest in a high-grade 1994 D Washington quarter, authentication and professional grading are critical. Look for deep mirrors in the fields, crisp devices, and absence of contact marks. Graded coins in MS67 or higher transform a common date into a numismatic trophy, and buyers should always verify certificate numbers and population reports to gauge scarcity and authenticity. Reveal, highest verified market prices. Now for the thrill every collector lives for, the highest verified auction results. A 1994 D Washington quarter graded MS68 by PCGS recently realized over $1,200 at a premier U.S. auction, and examples graded MS69 have pushed well beyond $3,500 in competitive bidding arenas. These prices underscore how condition, eye appeal, and grading authority can elevate an everyday coin into a high-stakes collectible. Closing call to ACTON. So next time you're sorting through pocket change, roll hunting, or building out your Washington quarter registry sets, remember, even the most familiar coins can harbor stories of design excellence, minting nuance, and collector passion. The 1994 D Washington quarter dollar isn't just change, it's a chapter in America's enduring monetary heritage and a thrilling piece for any serious numismatist's collection.